Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in to a Tuesday edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast. It's one last day without Damon, and today is Arizona Football Media Day. That's right, all you football sickos out there that are tired of basketball. Football talk is here, and football season is here, and it technically starts today. It's the AZ Wildcats podcast starting now. Welcome in to a Tuesday pre-recorded edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. My name is Kevin Thomas, aka Kevo Post. I hope you all are having a wonderful start to your Tuesday afternoon here ahead of Arizona Football Media Day. As I speak to you right now, try to wrap your head around this. Me and Damon, Cohen Kinney, and intern Amanda are in Tucson. Yeah, that's right. Technically, I'm here right now, but we are in Tucson, and we are talking to Brent Brennan. We're talking to position coaches. We're talking to players. We're talking to probably Justin Spears. We're talking to a whole bunch of people down there in Tucson, trying to ascertain, are we crazy for having high expectations for this Arizona football team? I don't know. I don't think so. It feels like the Big 12 is pretty wide open, ladies and gentlemen. And it feels to me, at least my little old eyes, like Arizona has a great chance to maybe make some noise in this conference this year. I understand that this episode is pre-recorded, but I want to go ahead and welcome everybody into the chat, right? Let us know your opinions. I'm sure I'll be tapping in with the live chat from Tucson as well. And this is, I want to note, the last show without Damon Dog. Ooh, wow, chat, we made it. We made it. Damon Dog will officially make his return to the podcast tomorrow. He'll be on the PHNX Diamondbacks postgame show tonight. And I am very, very, very happy to have him back, because you know what that means? I get to go on vacation now, chat. I will be in California in a mere matter of hours after this media day, and we come back. You know, I'll be Wednesday. From Wednesday on, I will probably be in Cali doing my best to move around in California. I'm very excited for that. If you have any recommendations for Los Angeles and San Diego, let me know. That's where I will be. Have not been to Cali since bowl season last year, unfortunately, where Arizona lost to SMU. And hopefully this year is a little bit different of a experience for Arizona Wildcat fans. Hopefully we get to see a bowl win. How crazy would that be, chat? A bowl win this year would be massive in year 3 of the Brent Brennan era. It's kind of make or break in many regards for year 3. Right? Like history at Arizona has told us that your third year kind of dictates how your career goes with the school. Brent Brennan has a chance to bring some stability this year to the football program with a successful season. It has been up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down recently. Could we have an up and then another up? Can we have an up and then a maintain? I would be very open to that as well. Especially in the final year of Noah Fifita, where it feels like you're going to have the best quarterback in the conference. Maybe, unless Drew Messnamaker comes through and is like the guy that he's being advertised to be. But let me just say this. It's one thing to project a guy as an NFL talent and say, hey, Drew Messnamaker, if he comes through this year for Oklahoma State, could be the guy that reps the Big 12 the best at the NFL draft. He could be the guy that in 10 years has the best, most snaps in the NFL. Sure. Who's going to be the best quarterback this season in the Big 12? Could be Drew Messnamaker. But here's the thing. Never played in the Big 12 conference. The thing about Noah Fifita is I've seen Noah Fifita play in the Big 12 conference. We've seen Noah Fifita not only play in the Big 12 conference, play really, really well in the Big 12 conference on top of that. And I think when you look at him never having 2 back-to-back seasons of an offensive coordinator, this being the first year that Noah Fifita is going to have, an offensive coordinator for back-to-back seasons, I think that is a coup for the Arizona football program to get that for him. I think this could be the best year we've ever seen from Noah Fifita. Sure, no T-Mac, right? So maybe it's a bit far-fetched, but who can step up in that receiver room? We're going to get into that here in a little bit, but it feels like this could be the year for a guy like Noah Fifita, who has been kind of going against the odds at every step. Whether it's, succeeding in the Alamo Bowl, and then his coach departing, and then high NIL bags being thrown at him and his boy T-Mac to get up out of town. He faces that adversity like a man, and he says, I'm going to stick with the girl that brought me to the dance in Arizona, and we're going to figure this out here in Tucson. And then he has a horrific year as a team in year 1 of Brent Brennan, and he decides, you know what, I'm going to stick around again. I'm going to hang out with this guy, Brent Brennan, again, and I think we can actually win this time around. And then he actually has a really strong year in year 1 of Seth Doege as offensive coordinator. And it starts to feel like if you could keep things intact, this could be a successful way to go. I think Arizona could make some noise in the Big 12 this year. Not to mention, this is not a conference this year where it's like, oh, we have so many elite teams. There are a lot of good teams in the Big 12 this year, but I think the conference is not even as good as it was last year, in my opinion. I think Kansas got worse. I don't see Baylor being better. Iowa State got ravaged by, the coaching carousel. K-State, new coach. We'll see what he can do with Avery Johnson. Oklahoma State, new regime. Things are hopeful, but we have to see it first. ASU, TBD, but I'm not really sold on any of their quarterbacks. Like, this conference is kind of for the taking. Texas Tech had a QB they paid a bunch of money to, and then he can't play because he gambled all his money. BYU might be the most stable team here that I'm talking about in this who could be the kings of the Big 12. Like, they might be the most stable horse in the race. It just feels like Arizona has a chance, like in the media poll, getting picked as 3rd, I think, or 4th in the conference. It feels like Arizona is on the precipice of being a team that, if you had told me 2 years ago, hey, in Brent Brennan's 3rd season, you guys are going to be preseason mocked in the 3rd slot in the Big 12, I would have been like, man, who do you have coaching the squad? Because it ain't Brent Brennan. But yet here we are, and he has managed to do a full PR 180 on himself. And I think winning has a ton to do with that, right? I think winning is a huge reason why Arizona has seen such an uptick in, Brent Brennan has seen such an uptick in support at Arizona from the fan base. You're not just going and winning 4 games. But if that happens this year, I think the fan base could be a lot closer to out on Brent Brennan permanently than they ever were in on Brent Brennan permanently. And I've said that multiple times. And I think it's true because I think it's going to be hard to sell people on year 4 of Brent Brennan without Noah Fifita. So what can he do to earn good grace, earn good favor this year that will buy him time to succeed without his star quarterback? Like, if Arizona next year, without Noah Fifita, I have faith that they can find a serviceable guy to fulfill those shoes. But if they can't, and let's say the team is not good or not as good or whatever, it's going to be harder to sell tickets. So what can Brent Brennan do to carry favor with the fan base this year going forward? Starts with winning. Can he bring more winning to the table than he did in year 1? Can it look more like year 2 than it did year 1? You have the coordinators from year 2. I think it's going to look a lot closer to last year than it did 2 years ago. But can he do it? That's the question. Speaking of questions, I asked you all on Twitter yesterday what your biggest questions were about Arizona football. And I do want to get to those today. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to who I am most excited to talk to at Media Day. We're going to get to a whole lot more news and notes here at the end of today's show as well. But yeah, I did want us to start today's show by saying, like, this is a year that we should have expectations. This is a year that we should think Noah Fifita could be at his best. This is a year where we could maybe see something special for the Arizona Wildcats football program, in a sense that we have not had stable success for quite some time, and that would be special in this program. I want to get to all that and more. I want to thank everybody for tuning in again today. I want you to leave a like on today's show, drop a comment in the live chat, talk to somebody that maybe you don't know in the live chat. Just reach out and say, hi, how are you? How did you become an Arizona Wildcat? And then maybe bond. Maybe you make a new friend. Maybe now you have a new best friend in your life and you didn't even know it. Shout out to Step Brothers. Did we just become best friends? After our first ad break, we're going to come back, talk about your questions and a whole lot more. It's the AZ Wildcats podcast. Leave a like, stick around, and don't go anywhere. Arizona road trip fans, this one is for you with our friends over at the Arizona Lottery. That's right, Arizona Lottery is celebrating 100 years of the iconic Mother Road with the brand new Route 66 Scratchers, ladies and gentlemen. Take a ride on the winning side and you could find yourself heading towards a top prize of $100,000. Route 66 Scratchers are also loaded with $100 prizes, making them a fun way to celebrate one of Arizona's most legendary highways, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're looking to dream even bigger, pair your Route 66 ticket with the Ultimate Riches Scratchers. Those things, yeah, they give players the chance to win up to $3.5 million. So whether you're a longtime Arizona Lottery customer or just looking to add a little bit of spice of excitement into your life, pick up your tickets today at your favorite Arizona Lottery retailer and see if your next stop is a big one. Arizona Lottery, love the play. And I also want to tell you about our good friends over at the Husband and Wife Law Team. Silly on social media, serious in the courtroom. The Husband and Wife Law Team, Mark and Alexis Breyer. Now you're wondering, why should I choose them after doing my research? Probably because they have hundreds of combined years of experience in trials in these situations, and also they employ the specialists to get the job done for you. Now, while they cannot guarantee the outcome of any given legal case, what they can do is make some promises to you as their attorney that you can cancel your fee agreement at any time for any reason, and you'll receive as much in your pocket as they do for their attorney's fee, even if they have to reduce their fee to make that happen for you. And the best part is that you have the right to trust that they, as your attorneys, will tell you both the strengths and the weaknesses of your case, so you're working with a full deck of cards. If you've had a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit that show note link in our show notes and let them know that PHNX sent you over. All right, again, that is 602-783-8841 or the show notes below. Welcome on back to the AZ Wildcats podcast, where today we're talking a little bit of Arizona football, as it is officially Arizona Football Media Day, which means football is right around the corner, chat, and I'm very excited for that. The last ride for Noah Fifita, hashtag Spivey season, year 2 of Doege, year 2 of Gonzales at the defensive helm. Absolute cinema. Very excited for this year's football team. Drop your comments in the chat. Let me know what you think about this upcoming season of football. Now, over the weekend, we had some massive news in the college sports world. Arizona signed a power forward. No, I'm kidding. We did a ton of podcasting about that. I talked ad nauseum about RJ Godfrey here this week. If you want more on that, check out the rest of the stuff on this channel. But the 5-5 rule, it is the news of the day. It is unavoidable. Everybody is talking about the 5-5 rule. It has implications on men's sports, women's sports, polo of the water variety, football, basketball, softball. everybody is trying to get that extra year of eligibility so they can get that extra year of pay. Now, could any Arizona Wildcats be interested in coming back to college to play football? We talked about this a little bit yesterday. We can rewind it, remix it here a little bit for those that did not tune in yesterday. There are two main guys that I think could actually make a roster in this new 5-5 rule sense for the Arizona Wildcats this upcoming year. One of which we might be talking to later this week. We will see if I can nail down a time for us there, as he is a very busy guy. But there are two guys in particular that I think stick out to me. Ismail Mahdi and Max Harris. Could Ismail Mahdi and Max Harris return to Arizona football this season? I think under the guidelines of the new rules, I think it's a yes. Max Harris has been posting all over social media recently with him working out. He has been showing kind of that he has been in the gym. He's been showing that he's kind of been staying ready, I think is what it's been getting at. And then when the injunction is passed, he's out there tweeting things like #blessed. And I think that, again, he could be just praising his Lord, which respect if that's what he's doing. Or he could be saying, I'm blessed to live in a time where I get another year to play college football and another year to earn money to do so. Either one works for me, but I do think that it's a possibility, chat, that he's talking about the idea of coming back to Arizona to play college football. This is not a situation where he's trying to transfer out. This is not a situation where he's trying to go to a different school. If that was the case, he would have already had to have entered his name in the portal, which is not something that him and Ismail Mahdi did. So if they're to come back to football, it's going to come back to football in Arizona for the Wildcats. And I think, Max Harris, while he has a budding music career, and the addition of him would mean more good music in town, and I love that. Clap it up for some good tunes. On the football side of things, it would give Arizona some much needed depth on the defensive side of things. And another guy who's very familiar with everything that Danny Gonzales is trying to coach on that side of the ball. Not to mention, we have a lot of new faces in that defensive secondary. And I know that Max Harris is not a defensive secondary guy, but I'm looking for as many familiar faces as I can get, as many successful guys as I can get. And I might be burying the lead here, but let's talk about Ismail Mahdi. Could Ismail Mahdi return for another year in Arizona? We thought we were just going to get 1 year of the Plano, Texas native who is a home run hitting running back and a guy that I think would add some much needed change of pace to this running back room. I think the Ismail Mahdi pickup, right, would be huge. You have Kedrick Reesno, you have other guys in this running back room that offer a variety of things, but I think what we are missing as a team, as Arizona football, I think what they are missing is a home run hitter in that running back room. You might disagree with that, but I just don't think that they have a guy that can break off that big explosive run in a random moment on a Saturday that has everybody going, whoa, I did not see that coming. All of a sudden, Arizona's going for 6. Ismail Mahdi is that guy. Ismail Mahdi is the kind of guy that if you could add him in August, whatever it could be, it would be a shocking pickup, I think, for the coaching staff, right? And we know that the coaching staff is at least interested in bringing Ismail Mahdi back, and this is something that's been maybe on their radar for some time now, potentially. If you listen to what Danny Gonzales had to say on the Wildcaster podcast with, some of the guys over there at the Arizona Daily Star, Danny Gonzales has said that Arizona would try to jump on this ruling if it passed. It did pass. And that would mean trying to jump on Ismail Mahdi. It would mean trying to jump on Max Harris. It would mean trying to jump on these guys that are now and newly eligible in the new rule set. I know ASU has a bunch of guys that they're trying to bring back. And I think a situation that you do not want to have if you're Arizona football is one where your rival is picking up dudes from last year's class. Your other teams in the conference are solidifying their roster with 5-5 guys, and you're not. I think you want to bring back Ismail Mahdi. I do think, I'm not reporting anything, but I do believe from what I can read in the tea leaves, there is mutual interest potentially between Madi and Arizona as it relates to a comeback of those sorts. I wonder just how real that could be. I will say this much, that I know from trying to schedule an interview with him this week that Ishmael Madi is a busy guy. And I don't know if that's because he's trying to come back to Arizona, if it's because he's running a barbecue business on the side, if it's because, he's just a busy dude. All the above could be possible, but I do think it's a hectic time for these guys. And I do want to try to get Ishmael Madi on the show to talk about this. Obviously, we can't talk about the specifics of these things, but I do want to ask him just kind of his overall reaction to the rule, his overall, reaction to the potential of coming back to Arizona for a fifth year, not fifth year at Arizona, but coming back to Arizona for his fifth year in college. Did he ever think that this would be a possibility when the season ended? I want to ask him all these things, and I won't get to do it at this point because I'm going to be on vacation after Wednesday, but Damon will do that for you if we're able to nail down a time. And like I said, I just think Ishmael Madi is the guy that you want to bring in. It's the guy that we're already talking about this offense as being one that could shock the Big 12. We're already talking about this offense as being one that, because of its continuity, because of the guys that are returning to the room, could be special for Arizona in year 3 of Brent Brennan and year 2 of Seth Doege. I think if you add Ishmael Madi, we could be talking about one of the best offenses in the conference, if not the best offense in the conference. That sounds kind of crazy, honestly, but it's not. Year 2 of Seth Doege, I think we've seen that quarterbacks and coordinators that have success in their first season often take another jump in that second season. I feel like Doege and Fifita could be cut from that cloth. And if you add a guy like Ishmael Madi, that home run hitting, change up throwing kind of running back into the fold, I think it shows that you're going all in on this season and all in on Noah Fifita's last ride and all in on trying to get back to 9 wins, trying to surpass that and get to 10, right? I think Ishmael Madi's the kind of guy that is a real difference maker at running back 1. And I do think he would come in and probably be running back 1. Now, obviously, would he start out at running back 1? Likely not, based on the fact that he's missed a lot of time in terms of preparation and camp and all this stuff and whatever. But that guy is skilled. That guy is a home run hitter. And even if you throw him in there as RB2, RB3, and he's throwing changeups at the opponent, we saw what he can do. Whether it's, rubbing his hand in the other guy's face or for a stiff arm or what, Ishmael Madi is going to make a difference out there on that football field. And I mentioned this on Twitter, but Ishmael Madi would be the first guy, I think, probably in D1 history, maybe not because it's football, but maybe possibly the only guy in D1 history to operate and own a barbecue joint local to the area while playing for a team. Has it ever been done before, chat? Has a guy ever been like, hey, I own this barbecue joint and I play running back for the team up the road? After the game, you want to go get a brisket plate? Yeah, Ishmael, I'm in. You just won us a football game and now you want to go serve me a slice of brisket? I'm in. I'm dying to know what Ishmael Madi's ideal barbecue plate is, because there's so many different ways to build a barbecue plate. And I know he has to have a favorite because it's barbecue. We all have opinions on barbecue. Like, I'm not a fan of Carolina barbecue sauce. I'm not a vinegar-based sauce guy. I'm more of a traditional barbecue sauce kind of guy. So is Ishmael Madi a Texas to the bone barbecue guy? I would assume that he is. Or is he going to throw a curveball at me if I asked him and say, no, I like that Carolina style. No, I like that St. Louis style. Who knows? But chat, I do think if Arizona can add Ishmael Madi, they should absolutely jump on the chance. It is a guy that can really elevate your offense and I think make you that much more dangerous in an open Big 12 conference. Heading in to a season where, like I said, it's open and you can make a lot of noise on that offensive side of the ball. Specifically, we know how well Seth Doege likes to balance out his offense. I just think it would be a home run pick up, I should say, to go get Ishmael Mahdi. Bring him home. I'm all about it, right? Like we talk about wanting to get back to 10 wins. It takes a village, and we need all the guys that we can get helping out along the way, chat. On the Max Harris side of things, like I said, it would add depth to that defensive side of the ball, add some more experience, add some more veteran leadership, another guy that's familiar with what we're trying to do here with the red line mentality, with all of that. Could help bring along some of these other younger guys on the team, and overall offer a lot of experience and leadership. And I think that that's also important as well with some of these 5-on-5 guys. But yeah, chat, after our second break, I want to talk about some of your questions and a whole lot more Arizona football. We'll be right back. If you're not a member of that Inner Circle Fuel Rewards program, what are you doing? Our friends over at Circle K, they're saving you 25 cents off on every fill up when you fill up and become an Inner Circle member for your first 5 fill ups. And at every fill up after that, you're getting 3 cents off per gallon until you graduate to the 5 cents off per gallon tier. That's right. You at home could be saving 5 cents off per gallon on every single fill up if you join the Inner Circle for free today by downloading that Circle K app. And the deals, they don't stop at gas, ladies and gentlemen. They also have deals on food, snacks, drinks, beer, lottery tickets, all this wonderful stuff that we love so much at Circle K. You could be saving some money on. So join the Inner Circle for free today. Download that Circle K app. Terms and conditions do apply only at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details. And if you're looking for a credit union that is rooted in Arizona and invested in you, 1AZ Credit Union is the way to go, ladies and gentlemen. Celebrating over 75 years of committed community service out here in the Valley. They have 25 branches across the Freedom State to help you at home manage your money. That's right. If you need one-on-one financial coaching, 1AZ Credit Union has your back at any of their 25 branches. If you need a document notarized, 1AZ Credit Union has your back at all of their 25 branches. And if you can't make it into the branches, I get it. That's okay. It's a busy world. They also have the free online mobile banking app. That's right. 1AZ Credit Union, ladies and gentlemen. So for a limited time only, open up a checking account with our friends over at 1AZ Credit Union, complete qualifying offers, and you could get $350 in new membership bonus. That's using CHK-358. That's using promo code CHK-358. Terms and conditions apply. Visit 1azcu.com for all the details. We're back on the AZ Wildcats podcast. I hope you have left your like on today's show. It is a special Arizona Football Media Day edition. Damon and I, as we speak, are down in Tucson, probably enjoying a Sonoran dog. Probably enjoying, the wonderful summer weather. Wow. And so much more. But Chad, I asked you all today what your biggest questions were entering this football season. And we're going to go through some of your answers right now. My first answer, I threw one in the hat just to get things started. I said, how will the reimagined defensive back room look? Because you brought in 8 new guys to fill the roles of the NFL cats that have left the building: Dalton Johnson, Genesis Smith, and Trayden Stukes. How will those guys come through? You have some guys that could be potential difference makers, right? Like Boodle, and you have Javion Cole, and you have Dalen Austin, who you brought in, Chapa, and Tyrese Boss, and all these guys that could be legitimate difference makers. But how will that look? We saw them, not this exact group, but we saw Arizona's DB room really struggle in the Holiday Bowl without those starters. In the second half, though, once they got a little bit of coaching, they were a lot stronger. That does give me faith that this coaching staff can get these guys right, get them serviceable, get them to a highly productive level. Even if it's not like, oh, wow, they're loaded with NFL talent. I think the unit overall is going to perform at a very, very high level. I also think that you're bringing in guys like Hartzog, You got Javion Cole. Javion Cole might end up being one of the best, if not the best corners in the conference this year, by the way, for what it's worth. And I think it should be worth quite a bit, right? So how will that new room look? I think it's going to be very hard for Arizona to have the same level of dominant defensive success that they had last year without the DB room setting that tone on that side of the ball. That's what they were doing last year, whether it was Genesis Smith coming down, creeping down, crashing, and rushing the quarterback or helping with the run stop. The DB room was phenomenal. And it was really leading the charge for Arizona defensively, in my opinion. How will that look this year? I'm sure it's going to look different, but hopefully that DB room, although reimagined, can still be effective. I mean, you're losing a handful of NFL guys. It's hard to replenish that. It's not easy to replenish that. Brent Brennan, Seth Doege, Chip Viney, like they have done a good job of replenishing it. But to what extent did they do it? To what extent are they going to find themselves successful? We will tell with time. The great Tyler Warden says, who emerges as wide receiver 1? Can Tre Spivey take the step? Does Gio's momentum from last season continue? Does Chris Hunter's veteran leadership give him an edge? I responded with hashtag Spivey season, implying that I am a Spivey backer, and I think Spivey will be the guy that emerges as wide receiver 1. He said, I'm all on board, but I need to see it on more than 23 catches, and I agree. Yeah, I'm a huge Tre Spivey guy. Yeah, I also acknowledge that, he didn't have a ton of usage. We're going to need to see more of him to really say that this is who he is. But I think on paper, he's the guy that could make the biggest leap. He's the guy with the highest ceiling. Potentially the highest floor. With all due respect to Chris Hunter, I don't think he's really the guy to step up in this room and be like, I'm the number 1 receiver. If anything, I think he's the one to step up off the court, or should I rather say off the field, and lead in that sense. But I don't see him. He's had opportunity in the past, is my point. He's had opportunities in the past to really step up and be that guy, and he has not been able to come through. So I do think he will end up kind of being wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 in that kind of range on this team. I don't think he steps up into wide receiver 1. I think that is Tre Spivey's obvious opportunity to go seize. It's kind of just about, will he go do it? Is he able to go make that happen for himself? Or is it some of the small things, right, that Coach Doege and Coach Bobby Wade were talking about when we talked to them this offseason about how, like, look, Tre is one of the most talented receivers you can find physically, mentally, blah, blah, blah. It's the small stuff, the attention to detail stuff that he has to nail down and really get focused on so he can become that number 1 receiver that we know he can be. And I also think Giovanni Richardson, Isaiah Mizell, B. Phelps, all these dudes are going to have to throw their hat in the ring, maybe not for wide receiver 1, but for highly productive wide receiver roles on this team that could threaten wide receiver 1 if you're like Giovanni Richardson, right? But yeah, I think the wide receiver room is going to be very important. And it's going to be massively important to this team. Obviously, in last year of Noah Fifita, you want to give him solid weapons to utilize. And this also, I'll say, this also extends past the wide receiver room. Which one of those tight ends? Is Cole Rusk going to be the guy that can really alleviate that pressure from these receivers and be a pass catcher out of the tight end position while managing his blocks, while managing his other responsibilities on the offense? I think that is a guy that I'm looking for in this conversation as well. But as Tyler Warden put it, who emerges as wide receiver 1, I'm going to have to say that it's Tre Spivey. Commercial Enjoyer says it's always, always, always about the trenches. How are they going to get it done this year? I think the offensive line is bulked up. I think you have some continuity and you've added some pieces on the periphery there to help you out. I think the defensive line is going to be better than people expect it to be. I think that the defensive line, especially with Trey Smith coming back, is going to be huge for this team next year. A couple of weeks ago, when Damon was actually in town and he wasn't ducking the smoke, kidding. A couple weeks ago, me and Damon discussed how The defensive line is one of the most important position groups on this team for next season. Why is that the case? You have I will say, reimagined defensive back core, secondary core. And I think the best way to support them would be to get after the quarterback early and often. And how are you going to do that with a strong, stout D line? One of the best ways to support them is going to be stopping the run game, all this stuff. I think it all starts with the D line. I don't think we get to having an elite secondary, even without these NFL guys, if the D line does not come through this upcoming year and set the secondary up for success. So as Commercial Enjoyer says, it's always, always, always about the trenches. How are they going to get it done this year? I think they're going to have to play with red line, and I think they're going to have to rely on the transfer and added talents that they have brought in to really solidify those units, like an Everett Russo on defense, for example. TR Burns wanting to know, who is wide receiver one? Who are the new safeties and how well do they play? Does the D-line get more pressure on the QB this year to allow Danny G to be more aggressive? That's a great one. I mean, it's really multiple ones. I get it. But wide receiver one asked and answered. I think it's going to be Tre Spivey. Hashtag Spivey season. I think he is the athletic freak of nature that can kind of be that number one receiver for you, not to mention if he has developed mentally, if he has developed the attention to detail stuff on the field, I think he could really be an impact guy for Arizona as a receiver. Maybe even break out and be kind of like an all-conference kind of receiver. He has the quarterback to do it. Can he be disciplined enough out there to make it happen for himself? It's an important question. Then he adds in, does the D-line get more pressure on the QB this year to allow Danny G to be more aggressive? I think they do. I kind of just outlined that in my previous answer. I think the D-line is going to be better this year. I think the D-line is going to be more potent this year at getting after the QB. I think it's going to be harder to be a quarterback against Arizona this year than it was last year. And I think that is going to allow Danny Gonzales to be a little bit more aggressive than he was last season. MB, aka Michael 6690745 on X says, it's all and always about the trenches. And yeah, I agree. I think Arizona's beefed up in those areas a little bit. I'm not going to act like they're becoming like a top flight Big Ten team the way that they have trenches or SEC side, but no, they've gotten better. Fire emoji ER, aka at devilish032 on Twitter wants to say, if you have another solid year, as in Arizona, where will Brent Brennan coach next year? Is this a mistake? Because if Arizona has another solid year next year, Brent Brennan's going to be coaching in Arizona next year. If anything, if Arizona has another solid year next year and the offense is amazing, where will Seth Doege be coaching next year is the question, because I think that is a guy that could eventually get poached. Danny Gonzales has talked about how he's not really looking for a head coaching job. Okay. Seth Doege has talked about how he wants to be a head coach one day. He also has talked about finishing out his job with Arizona and Brent Brennan. But if they have a really strong year this year, win a bowl game, and have all this success, and Noah Fifita's career at Arizona is over, I could see a world where a team comes and poaches Seth Doege to be their new head coach. So I don't think the question is, where will Brent Brennan coach next year? I think if Brent Brennan succeeds, it's going to be at Arizona. But the real question to me is, if Arizona has a really strong year, where will Seth Doege be coaching? Where will some of these other Where will some of these other more supplementary coaches, the assistant coaches, where will they get spread out across the country if Arizona has a really strong year? That's usually how it goes, especially with a coach like Brent Brennan, who's more like a CEO and not like a hands-on, like X's and O's kind of coach. I think that's kind of where you start to see the staff splinter, is when Arizona has a great year and then all of a sudden Seth Doege is like Texas Tech's new guy or something. I don't know. Daylight Films wants to know, another trenches is always D-line and O-line. I think they're going to be more improved this year than last year. Seth Milosevic, too, wants to know, will Arizona prevent overlooking teams? Oh, will Arizona not look over teams like Washington State next year? I mean, I hope not. What? I hope they're not overlooking anybody. It's Arizona football. You don't get the right to do that. But I mean, I will say, I also hope that, like, you listen to Danny Gonzales talk about how They wish they could play BYU tomorrow. They wish they could play BYU today at media day because the game plan is done. But that does not mean that they're overlooking their, opponents heading into that. But they also have to be prepared for week 2. So I don't think Arizona's going to overlook Washington State. We do know Washington State's going to play that like their Super Bowl per Damon. So we'll see where it goes from there. Saguaro86 says, who will the backup quarterback be? I don't care because Noah Fifita is going to pass for 50,000 yards and 50 touchdowns and 105 touchdowns. I don't know. But, excuse me, chat. But I will say, I do think that the quarterback room has improved this past time since really Noah Fifita, since JDL left. I think it's been not great. Did I say improved? I would say the backup quarterback has not really improved at Arizona since Noah Fifita was the backup quarterback at Arizona. Maybe you guys feel differently about that. But I don't know. In my opinion, if your backup quarterback is playing and if you have a really strong backup quarterback, you must be very lucky. I think most backup quarterbacks are kind of eyebrow raisers in a negative way of like, ooh, that was a pass that he threw. So yeah, if Noah Fifita is not playing, this team's ceiling is the floor. But you knew that already. Nothing to see here, aka at Pitchers Circle says September 5th, 6:30, Arizona versus NAU. Temperature will be over 100. You can expect capacity to be under 50%. What are you thinking? Chat, we've talked about this before, right? Like the attendance issues this year, we don't have any excuses. It's Noah Fifita's last year. The team could be really good. Like, I don't want to go into all the reasons why Arizona fans should be filling the stadium almost every night. But yeah, the chatter is not wrong. That like if the temperature is over a certain amount and if the opponent's under a certain ranking, then it's like Arizona fans, we just think that I don't want to go. It's just football, which I understand to an extent, but come on, we got to have over 50 there. But nothing to see here is not wrong, right? I mean, I also would expect capacity at about that much. And then Tony Molina says, at Tony Molina T79 says, secondary is his biggest question, as was mine. I already asked and answered that. Shout out to everybody that is tuned in with me today, previewing Arizona Media Day. We'll be talking to players. Damon will have those interviews and stuff, clips from this over the next week or so here on the show. And we're going to wrap this one up after our final ad break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Leave a like, stick around, and do not go anywhere. It is our great friends and family over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. If you're looking to spice up your life, if you're looking to have a staycation, if you're looking to experience any live podcasts, music, comedy events, Gila River Resorts and Casinos and all their Valley locations are the best way to get in on the action. I'm talking thousands of live table games and slots. I'm talking wall-to-wall TVs in their BetMGM sports room. I'm talking upper deck bar and grill. You can see PHNX live podcast tapings there from time to time as well. It's Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And if you want additional details on all the ways that you do you, get in on the action, watch every game every week with our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Grab your crew, celebrate the big wins, and enjoy everything that they have to offer. Gila River Resorts and Casinos, all the ways you do you. Visit playatgila.com for more details. Now, it has been a long week without our guy, Damon Dog. He returns tomorrow on the AZ Wildcats podcast. But if you would like to give some feedback for what I could have done better this week, there's a way for you to maybe get an Amazon gift card out of it. That's right. Go take a short survey at gophnx.com/feedback. That's gophnx.com/feedback to get signed up. And you will be entered, but you could win the $100 Amazon gift card. Let your voice be heard. We sincerely want to know what we could be doing better here at PHNX. So take the survey today. Head to gophnx.com/feedback. That's gophnx.com/feedback. Thank you all for tuning in on my last week of solo shows as Damon returns from his vacation today, and he'll be back on the show tomorrow to talk all your Arizona Wildcat stuff. I'll be off to California here not too shortly, and I'm very excited about that. But I did want to end today's show by thanking everybody who tuned in, liked, supported this past week's content. It means the world to me every time I get to talk about my favorite team, the Arizona Wildcats, and people actually give a damn what I have to say. It's pretty cool and pretty surreal, honestly. All right. Sappy stuff aside, thank you for all your support. I'm happy to have Damon back. And to wrap up today's show, something I did not mention yesterday was that over the weekend, Joe Tipton and On3, that's who he works for, On3, they posted their Adan Diggs prediction in terms of where he might land, and they gave him a medium confidence prediction to Arizona. And I think that this is obviously something that every Arizona fan is expecting, is that Adan Diggs ends up in a U of A uniform here next season, not upcoming next season, but the year after this upcoming season, to maybe be the successor to one Caleb Holt, who was the successor to one Braden Burries, who was the successor to Caleb Love, who was the successor to Benedict Mathurin, who was the successor to, I think you get the point, guys. Tommy Lloyd's had a lot of elite guards come through here, and it feels like Adan Diggs could be the very next one. And I also think that if you are able to pair that kind of talent with a guy like Darius Wobbington, who it seems all indications are that Arizona is, if not in the lead for him as well, if they're very close to it. If you're able to pair Diggs with Wobbington, you are really cooking with gas, man. The chemistry those two have from the Team USA circuit, from playing against each other out here in Arizona, is off the charts. And I think if you're able to add that into an Arizona context, it will be absolutely massive. Whew, what a week it has been, chat. What a week it has been. Much love, much appreciation. I will be back next Friday, the 14th, talking Arizona Wildcats with all of you. But on this YouTube channel, Damon will be holding it down until then for all your Arizona Wildcats coverage. And if you want to see what I have to say while I'm in California, you can follow me at Kevo Post. That's KEVOPOSTS. You can follow us as a podcast conglomerate at PHNX_Wildcats. You can follow us as a corporate conglomerate at PHNX_Sports on Twitter as well, everybody. And like I said, thank you for all for tuning in. Thank you all for having fun with me this week. Thank you to RJ Godfrey for signing and becoming an Arizona Wildcat, which we did not discuss today. The lights are on, which means I must go. It's the AZ Wildcats podcast. And until next time, folks, it's media day. Peace out, bear down, go Cats. Let's get 10 wins again.
We all silly like the mayor.